Council resumes its sitting at 4:39 p.m. We've got a mix of the recommendation, but I think importantly, the delegated authority to the General Manager has been removed because really there's no substantive matters to delegate to the General Manager to finalise. This all has to come back to Council in any event. If we can type this up as we go. Council commence due diligence investigations, bracket, including a cost analysis, close bracket. I'm sorry. Just get rid of the other one. The staff one, you can just delete all that. General Manager wants to start again. Oh, you've got to, have you? Okay, all right. That one, Council commenced due diligence investigations, bracket, including a cost analysis, close bracket, on the feasibility of constructing a bicycle and walking path a bicycle and walking. Is that what you call it, walking or recreation, or it's a shared?
Shared paths.
Constructing a shared path. That adjoins Bong Bong Common and Cecil Hoskins. I tell you, can we go to Riverfront and take all those words out up to there, because I'm finding it hard to. Thank you. Yeah, goody. The Council commenced due diligence investigations including cost analysis of the feasibility of constructing a shared path that joins Bong Bong Common and Cecil Hoskins Nature Reserve to the emerging Bowral South New Living Area along the Wingecarribee Riverfront to, as part of the investigations, landowners be consulted as to their ideas and views. Three, a further report be provided for Council's consideration following 1 and 2 in conjunction with the Bowral South, in conjunction I think with the draft Bowral South. That's New Living Area Master Plan. 4, a notice be placed on NES 10.7 bracket 5 certificate for the subject properties of this resolution. Landowners would, how do we define the landowners? The 6 landowners. Because, the investigations, landowners be consulted. I think at this stage, you want to get the ideas and views of the affected landowners, and the affected landowners are those who potentially.
I mean, we can say, I'd suggest landowners subject to, referred to in this report. There are 6 landowners and lot and DP numbers that were identified in the report, but it would also be that broader consultation as well, because there's a clear nexus to Barrel, the emerging Barrel South New Living area.
So,
Potentially stakeholders, or but
everyone's a stakeholder, that's the problem. As part of the investigation, the 6 landowners. Further report be provided.
shall we say, all affected landowners?
Now, all affected landowners, that's the whole Shire potentially, because there's a huge community benefit for this as well.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah, look, I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah. Yeah, okay. The General Manager suggests the lot and DPs as per your plan. So, yeah, I'm more than comfortable. I just want to make sure that this is clear.
Mr. May, the microphone is off.
I apologise. As part of the investigations, the 6 the 6 owners of land referred to, the owners of the 6 properties referred to in the report be consulted. In the report, the affected properties, their lot numbers and DPs are noted. Okay? I declare that carried. The next one we move to now is the draft operational plan, General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. May. Before I ask the Acting Director, Corporate Strategy and Resourcing to speak to this item, I wish to acknowledge the work of the whole team, the managers and their teams, the finance team, IP&R, governance and corporate reporting. As was noted this evening by an earlier speaker, the level of information and the detail within the operational plan and budget has been improved significantly to assist people accessing the information, but also to understand what's proposed, how it's funded, and the timing of that. So I'll hand over to Mr. Kuzmanowski to speak to this item. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. At the extraordinary meeting on 1 May 2024, Council resolved to place a draft operational plan and budget 24-25 and associated suite of documents on public exhibition. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider the submissions made in relation to the documents placed on public exhibition and adopt the 24-25 operational plan and budget and associated documents. In considering the public submissions, the following themes were raised: opposition to rate increases, infrastructure and maintenance concerns, environmental and sustainability initiatives, fees and charges for community facilities, and matters relating to the regional art gallery contribution. The detailed submissions and officer responses have been provided as an attachment to the report. Whilst on public exhibition, changes were made to the operational plan, primarily to reflect the reporting line change in Council's organisational structure, effective 1 May 2024, and other minor changes providing clarity on service performance measures. Changes to the exhibited 24-25 fees and charges have also been made, incorporating feedback from 355 management committees, amongst other minor changes outlined in the report. The Statement of Revenue Policy recommends the IPART rate peg of 4.6% and the introduction of part year rating for the first time in 24-25 financial year. It is also recommended that the domestic waste management charge is increased by 7% to align with Council's long-term financial plan to ensure the domestic waste fund is financially sustainable over the long-term financial plan in providing new services and mitigating the increase in waste disposal costs. An increase of 7% is also recommended for the water and sewer charges to fund critical infrastructure upgrades and the services associated in borrowing and delivering these projects.
Sorry, you can't close the doors. We're in open council.
Thank you. An increase of 7% is also recommended for the water and sewer charges to fund critical infrastructure upgrades and service the associated borrowings in delivering these projects. These large-scale projects are intergenerational projects and require borrowings to partially fund them. The 4-year detailed capital works program was also updated to ensure the program is accurate and delivers for the community. The majority of changes is the result of providing a detailed project listing for the first time, as opposed to program level budgets to reflect the works and timeframes of these projects to be completed. It is also noted that the Mittagong Playhouse project has been deferred to the 25-26 financial year due to Council being unsuccessful in round 1 of the Growing Regions program. Council officers will reapply when round 2 of the Growing Regions program opens again. Whilst on public exhibition, Council officers conducted a review of a revised unrestricted working capital benchmark. The existing working capital benchmark of $5 million was determined as a part of the Finch review conducted in mid-2021. The revised methodology recommends a $5.8 million benchmark for the unrestricted working capital position. It is noted that the unrestricted working capital position is now $6 million based on the March 2024 quarterly budget review. The surplus has grown from $5 to $6 million through prudent financial management since the benchmark was established. Other considerations of this report include loan borrowings for the 24-25 financial year totalling $20,575,000, of which $15,450,000 is funded from the sewer fund for the sewage treatment upgrades. Financial assistance program outlining the 24-25 schemes under Section 356 of the Local Government Act, outcomes of the Community Waste Disposal Systems Scheme, Service Review Prioritisation Program, and the unfunded projects list. Before summarising and addressing the matter raised in public forum on the unfunded project list, an acquittal between the previous list and the current list was made in presenting the draft budget on 1 May 2024 Extraordinary Council meeting for public exhibition. Council is presenting a financially responsible budget that covers $162 million in operating expenditure and $105 million in capital expenditure, with a forecast working capital position remaining above $6 million in adopting this budget. The recommendation is as tabled in the report. Thank you.
Will there be any comment in relation to the submissions that we received from residents and also some of the changes as a result of the next item? Or will that be held for the asset management plans? I believe, from my reading, has influenced some of what's happened with the budget. General Manager?
Sorry, Mr. May, I'll ask the Acting Director, Service and Project Delivery, Mr. Robinson, to speak to this item. As I mentioned it before, the Acting Director, Corporate Strategy and Resourcing spoke. It has been a team effort, and assets are one of the key inputs into the budget, and as a result of feedback from the community during the period, there were some adjustments. At the end of the day, it doesn't change the bottom line. It did, however, influence some of the sequencing or scheduling. So I'll ask Mr. Robinson just to touch on some of those elements. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Mr. May, correct. As detailed in the report, there has been a suite of adjustments made to the 4-year program. The 4-year program has been developed to an unprecedented level of detail, with individual project listings being budgeted for, as opposed to there being wide-ranging programs. The Capital Works program across the 4 years therefore consists of 728 distinct projects across the 4 years. And being able to provide that level of detail is the culmination of significant efforts over the past 3 years to improve both capital program development and management, but also investment in asset condition data, which has then also flowed through to influence the asset management plans, which we also look at in this meeting. Although this has been a significant investment of time, and it's been a hard endeavour, it is one that's worthwhile, and as part of, because it's helped us achieve our continuing efforts and outcomes for increased transparency and accountability as a council. Through the review of submissions made during exhibition and refinement of individual project budgets, there were a number of adjustments. They've been detailed within the report, but they can also be generally summarised into 4 categories. One being a review of the new footpath program so that it prioritises connections where there's no footpath currently present on either side of the road. And that came as a result of listening to community feedback received during exhibition. The other main category is the optimisation of the 130 road renewal projects across the first 2 years of the program. And that was done to ensure that council is investing in the best projects to the right amount. We've also done a rephasing of the water zoning projects to ensure that there is delivery resourcing maintained throughout those projects, such that we can set realistic timeframes for them. And then the final one is just to reflect grant funding application outcomes and also existing council resolutions. So again, all these changes were necessary to the program such that we can ensure that it is of maximum accuracy and achieve the desired transparency and accountability outcomes.
Anybody else? Look, I congratulate the staff on this. When the General Manager was first appointed, this council just had bulk figures, no details. It was a mystery. They're now gone down to level 4, as was noted by the lady earlier, so residents can get a better appreciation of what is spent in different areas of the council. The fact that works for the next financial year are clearly outlined, and potential works for the following 4 years, the 700, are very clear, can only help an incoming council. And, you know, I committed to ensure that this council, when they're elected, could hit the ground running, and this is just one part of delivering on that. There's more to come. But, you know, again, I congratulate the council officers. I also congratulate you on not taking a tin-ear approach to residents in relation to the submissions that they made. I have a couple of questions. What particularly worries me is the water and sewer funds, and you say you're increasing 7% this year, and that there are 5% increases in the 10-year financial plan after that. I kind of did a back of envelope calculation myself, and I could be miles out, but in effect, the moratorium, the 4-year, I think it was, moratorium, I think the community, up to the 30th of June this year, on investment in water, has lost in the order of $4 million. Am I close, or?
Yeah, my estimates are about 4.5 million there, Mr.
About 4.5.
Correct.
You know, that's money that this community can't get back in investing in the future in water. And are you confident that with the sewer 7%, then 5% for the next 9 years, and also relying on potential state government grants to assist, that this will cover the upgrade of Mittagong?
That is correct. Pending the government grants, that is correct.
Well, look, I can only congratulate the council staff on taking a strategic approach to this kind of thing. You know, I know that there's some council critics who say that we're spending a lot of money on Bowral, Mossvale and Mittagong sewerage treatment plant upgrades, but the money was sitting there, and if it had been used even 5 or 3 years ago, it wouldn't be costing what it's costing now. But that's history, we've got to move on. So you're satisfied with what you're doing in the 10-year financial plan. The 10-year financial plan has been adjusted to deal with the matters as outlined on page 24 of the business paper.
Just getting to page 24, won't be a moment there.
I'm sorry, it's all the alterations.
Yes, they have, that is correct.
Okay. And service reviews, the report notes, and I think it's common in local government, there's an ever-growing gap between growth and depreciation, which you noted 18%, potentially when you do the statements at the end of the year, and it's only going to get worse in years to come as you do asset revaluations, because again, it's off a very bad base, and a rate peg of 4.6%. I take the view that that can potentially be addressed through service reviews. Now, The service reviews as detailed in attachment 9 does not say when they're going to happen. It just does a priority list, but your report notes that there will be a report in the first quarter of the next financial year to council. General Manager, when, or CFO, when are you proposing that that will come back to council?
Over to the CFO, Acting Director. Thanks, Dave.
We're looking at them at the August council meeting, Mr. Administrator.
Yeah, look, I think it's important that it's dealt with. The incoming council can change it if they want to, but I think it's very, very important. And as I said earlier, Rome wasn't built in a day. It hasn't been possible to deal with everything else that this council's been dealing with in the financial arena and servicing arena. So that will come back to the August meeting. So I don't need to add that to the resolution.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, well, having said that, I would move the officer's recommendation, commencing on page 14 of the business paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, and declare that carried. And once again, well done to all concerned. We now move on to item 9.2, the asset management plans for adoption. General Manager.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. May. I'll ask the Acting Director, Service and Project Delivery, who is normally the Manager Assets, to speak briefly to this item. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Mr. May, the purpose of this report is to seek Council's adoption of the 6 asset management plans covering the asset classes of transport, stormwater, open spaces, buildings, water and wastewater. The finalisation of these asset management plans is a significant milestone for Council and is the culmination of improvements in asset planning across the last 3 years. Council has for many years maintained draft asset management plans. However, these were never publicly exhibited nor adopted by Council and were also entirely separate from the long-term financial planning processes of Council. That has been rectified through this suite of asset management plans. The documents cover a 10-year planning period and align with the long-term financial plan of the resourcing strategy, and within each document provides a snapshot of the asset class, looking at inventory, value and condition of the assets, then consideration of the drivers of levels of service, that is risk assessment, community satisfaction and adopted plans and strategies, then moves into define the level of service for each asset class, makes an analysis of asset-based growth across the 10-year period from the factors of indexation, new projects that Council delivers, developer contributions, and also assets dedicated from subdivision. And then it pulls all of that together for a 10-year financial forecast with a list of future asset planning actions to complete the document. All of that to say the documents, the asset management plans, are a comprehensive body of work and serve to provide a complete picture of our asset network to both the community and the incoming council. It's recommended that council adopt this suite of asset management plans.
When you came up the hill to join this council, you had no idea that none of this had been done?
No, I wasn't. Correct. I wasn't fully aware of what I was walking into.
As I said, this was a very bad example of a good council, but I think now you're ahead of the pack because many councils, while they're still working on their asset management plans, haven't formally adopted them. Would that be a fair summation, General Manager, or better for the Manager?
Correct, Mr. May. All councils will have an adopted asset management policy and an asset management strategy, but I believe very few will have exhibited and adopted portfolio asset management plans like this.
So in short, this means that the council can make and it's already started by virtue of the changes you've done to the budget since it went on public exhibition, can make informed decisions based on professional, valid advice?
Correct. They serve to provide a 10-year picture of our financial sustainability across the asset base.
And these asset management plans will also assist as the council looks at new land release areas under the residential strategy?
Correct. That is one of the factors considered for asset-based growth, which in turn we need to look at what does it take to maintain levels of service with a growing asset base, and new living areas are one source of those.
Well, again, look, I think the amount of work that's been done is amazing, and it informs to make a professional budget, but it also highlights into the future the problems that this shire potentially has in relation to the maintenance of all its assets and the importance of service level reviews. Having said that, have you finished, sorry? I would move the officer's recommendation in relation to 9.2 asset management plans for adoption as outlined on page 33 of the business paper, and declare that carried. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. May. Over to the Acting Director, Communities and Place, to introduce the item around the Wingecarribee Local Planning Panel appointments. Thank you, Mr. McAllister.
Thank you, General Manager. Mr. May, the purpose of this report is to provide an update on the recommended membership to the Wingecarribee Local Planning Panel and to confirm Council's members to the panel for the term of 1 July 2024 to the 30th of June 2027. Wingecarribee Shire Council is required to have a local planning panel, and it must appoint chairs and independent expert members that are approved by the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces. Community representatives are recruited and selected and appointed by Council. In accordance with the Minister's decision, Council acknowledged the appointment of Mr. Stephen Lehman as Chair of the Local Planning Panel and the appointment of Mr. Ian Reynolds and Ms. Louise Byrne as alternate chairs of the Local Planning Panel. Council has selected 20 experts as listed in the report from the Minister's advised pool of experts to ensure that adequate representation of all specialisations needed. An expression of interest was sought from community members to join the Wingecarribee Local Planning Panel from the 31st of May to the 17th of June in 2024. It is recommended that Council appoint the 5 community representatives as listed in the report to the Local Planning Panel. The community representatives have been recommended on the basis of ensuring a geographic spread and representation across our shire, fresh perspectives balanced with experience, and of course expertise that each of them bring along that will complement the pool of experts. Thank you.
Obviously, in recommendation 4, Mr. Stas, who is the gentleman who's done the peer review, won't be invited to sit at any panel meeting, and I repeat, any panel meeting, until after this matter is determined by the Council. Thank you.
That is correct, Mr. May.
Thank you. Okay, in relation to 9.3, Wingecarribee Local Planning Panel appointments, I'd move the officer's recommendation as outlined on page 40 of the business paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and declare that carried. General Manager, the supplementary item.
Yes, thank you, Mr. May. So this is the item that is recommitted from the ordinary meeting last week, and I'll ask the Acting Director to introduce this item. Thank you, Mr. Kuzmanowski.
Good to go.
I apologise. Yeah.
Apologies. The purpose of this report is to retable the deferred VEEP report from the 19 June 2024 council meeting. The matter was to be included as a part of the ordinary agenda, was subsequently added as a supplementary agenda item, which was published on Monday evening. As a result of the deferral from the 19 June 2024 meeting, the administrator was provided with the following documentation relating to the VEEP process. December 2023 council meeting report and minutes, the VEEP advertisement, selection committee confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements, declaration of interest forms, stage 1 selection scoring, stage 2 selection scoring, selection probity report, selection committee report, post-selection probity advice. I'd like to confirm that a declaration of interest was made by Council's Tourism and Events Coordinator and was omitted from the remainder of the review process. In addressing the matter that was raised in public forum on why DSSS and DNSW were not included as a part of the panel, it was advised that DNSW were not available to sit on the panel and DSSS raised a potential conflict of interest. The recommendation is as tabled in the report and remains the same as was last meeting. Thank you.
Having regard to what was said at the open forum, my reading of the report is there is a representative of the wine industry on the panel. Am I reading wrong or right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, well, look, I spent some time looking at all of this because I've had other representations about it. And in your introduction, you did mention that you took supplementary advice from the probity advisor in relation to my actions at the last meeting,
That is correct, yes.
and that I acted appropriately.
That is correct, yes.
In relation to item supplementary agenda item SA11, Visitor Economy Advisory Panel, I would move the officer's recommendation as outlined on page 3 of the supplementary agenda 1 and 2, and declare, before I do that, I don't think I have to rule this matter as urgent because there was 3 days notice given. Went out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or is it safer to do it? Okay, we've got to backtrack. Before I deal with this matter then, I would move that in accordance with clause 9(3)(b) of the Code of Meeting Practice, this matter is a matter of urgency, noting that it was circulated on Monday, and declare that carried, and I thereupon move it as a matter of urgency. I would move the officer's recommendation as outlined on page 3 of the supplementary agenda 1 and 2 and declare that carried. Any late items, General Manager?
Sorry. Yes, there is. Sorry, Mr. May. This will be Mr. McAllister's last meeting as the Acting Director, Communities and Place.
Don't give me a heart attack.
No, he's going back to his substantive role with the new Director, Michael McCabe, commencing on Monday. And I have to commend Mr. McAllister for his work over the last few months, and his work, his efforts, his professionalism, and a very positive can-do attitude, and I appreciate all you've done and what you've done for your team and your colleagues, so thank you.
And it was pleasing earlier at the meeting, the gentleman came and said, what a great job you've done with the curbside collections too. As I understand it, the council's been overwhelmed with requests for the collection, but well done for what you've done. And General Manager, have a happy month off, recharge the batteries, because I don't think it's going to slow down. Declare the